The opportunity of being here, giving us the opportunity to share this legend with you. I'm very honored to be here today to share with the Learning Center's staff and being here today to share it with you. So without further ado, I'm going to start. Thank you very much for the opportunity again, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I'd like to thank my friend Deirdre for collaborating this initiative of our legends together. My name is Stephen Little, and I'm from the Nikumen Indian Reservation in British Columbia. Today, I'm going to read you a story called The Voyage of Finn, the Fish Boy. I co-wrote it with my Irish friend Deirdre Keohane. While we were working together, Deirdre introduced me to an Irish legend called the Salmon of Knowledge. We noticed many parallels between her legends of Ireland and my legends of the Salish nations. We referred the mythologies of the Thompson Indians by James Tate and from the Book of Invasions, Ancient Irish medieval manuscript. This story is a combination of both our cultures, but it is primarily the story of my life living with a disability.
And before you start, I just want to say too, I want to thank Stephen for allowing me to share my art and my culture too, because it's challenging, and Stephen is a great supporter of that, and I want to thank you as well.
The Voyage of Finn, the Fish Boy. My life is anything but ordinary. When I was born with a fish tail. I am half fish and half human. My mother was a cowboy and a rancher. My father was a fisherman. One day, my father walked out and never returned. My mother was left to raise the children and to manage the ranch. The reservation I grew up on was in a very remote place in the Nikumen Valley. It was far away from everything. It was no place for a kid without legs. Although my childhood was tinged with challenges, I was very happy to be home and with my mother and my sisters. In the summertime, my mother would take us to the Thompson River to play and swim. She would bundle me up on the back of her horse, and we would spend hours by the river. I loved being beside the river. It was here I discovered that I had an amazing ability to swim. I dreamt I was a mighty salmon, fighting the roaring waves. At the end of the day, my mother would have to beg me to come out. That night, as I dozed off, the great river came and spoke to me. She told me of the lands far away. She told me one day that I would have to trust her and go away with her. She said she would carry me to a place of calm waters, a place where I would be safe. But then I was fast asleep. One morning, there was a lot of commotion in the house. My mother was in a panic. The Indian agent was on the res. He was rounding up the children to be taken away to residential school. He came to our house and told my mother we had to go. We had no choice. Strangers came and put me and my sisters in a vehicle and took us far away. I had never been away from my home and my mother, and I was very scared. When we arrived at the school and got out of the truck, all the children at the school came out to see us. They saw my fishtail and screamed with laughter. My sisters were taken to the girls' dorms, and I was alone to face the bullying. I didn't have my mother to protect me. The children threw rocks at me and taunted me. The adults in charge did nothing to protect me. It was here, in this harsh environment, that I learned I was different. It was here that I learned the word disabled. Absolutely.
Can you see that? I don't know, it's been small.
If I were to survive, I knew that somehow I had to win the children over. And so I began to tell stories. At the residential school, I kick-started my survival skills here in that cold marble building. So far away from my home, I was the freak, the weirdo, the disabled fish boy. Finally, after many months, we got a break. We were allowed to return home. I had just turned 12 years old. At last, I was home, close to my mother, close to the waters of the river that my body yearned for. All summer, my sisters and I played together under the hot sun and swam in the cool waters of the Thompson. One day, as I lay in the hot sun, drying from my swim, I heard a whisper. It was the river. She told me that the time was coming soon that I would have to go with her. I turned away and I tried to ignore her. Over the days, she called me again and again. She said it was time to meet my other family. The river dwellers, the salmon people. She said it was time for me to come into the river and to be liberated from my disability. It was time to learn to swim with the salmon and to become strong like my brothers. It was time to let go of my cumbersome crutches. I knew she was right. I knew deep down that I couldn't stay here. There was nothing for me here for a disabled boy with a fishtail for legs. I had to leave if I were to survive. My heart ached at the thought of once again leaving my mother. So I turned away and tried to ignore the call. I continued to play out the river days with my sisters. I shouted all the louder to drown out the river's call. Chapter 2. The season was changing. The evenings had started to grow colder, and the nights came on faster. We played less and less by the river. One evening, my mother asked me to come down to the river with her. She said she needed to water the horses and wanted me to help. When we got to the river, my mother turned to me and said, "Finn, it is time for you to go." I turned quickly to look into her eyes. I knew that she knew. She too had heard the river speak. She too knew that she had to let her boy go in order for him to live. She gently picked me up from my wheelchair. She carried me over to the edge of the river. I felt her strong arms surround me. I felt her deep sadness. I felt her strong determination as she laid me to the waters. I felt her trust to the river mother. I heard a heartbroken growl coming from deep within my mother's grisly spirit. As the cool water surrounded me, I felt a surge of strong strength run through me. My powerful fishtail slapped the ancient waters, the blue and the green scales dazzling in the evening sun. I roared, "Goodbye, mother dear." I opened up my arms to the mother of the river.